Alright, Shalom Hebrews. This is a message from the Israelite Brotherhood. I got a little time that I ain't doing the good work that I usually do, so I'm going to take this time to put some history out because, I get busy, man. And I don't be having time to sit down and just study thoroughly. But I want to do this here, man, because I'm dealing with this subject about when we return home. That how we can't let no demigod worshippers be among us, and how we can't let the Jesus worshippers be among us. I'm sorry now, some of y'all getting offended and probably hurt by this, but man, you got to understand the history and what went on with us, and how that the Jesus story we got in slavery. Now, everybody got common sense. Everybody that got common sense know that they didn't bring no people from the transatlantic slave trade, man, that they captured, in the Sahara, and man, and then took to the Americas, that Christianity was in Africa, man, 1,500 years, man, before the transatlantic slave trade started. You know what I'm saying? You got Ethiopians that was Christians, and all up and down here, man, the Coptic Christians and Christianity been around, man, since almost since Herod Temple. Now because Paul, they start calling them Christians up here, man, in Turkey. But the Israelites don't be knowing, the real history, meaning what went on and stuff, and how we just basically go off what our parents told us, and then their parents told them, and how we just accepted it, and how some Israelites modified it. But Christianity, man, was in Africa. Man, the Ethiopians was Christians, and men in the Sudan and all around. Man, they had Christians, man, before the transatlantic slave trade. But how miraculous millions of us took from Africa, and none of us was Christians. Man, I'm talking about none of us believed in Jesus or even spoke Latin, Greek, or the Romanist Latin English language. We didn't speak that. Now, how all of a sudden we gonna be all in Africa and Christianity right here with the Ethiopians? Now, this was gonna hurt some of y'all, is that I could show that under our derogatory name, Gramentian, that we used to capture some of these folks and make them dig holes in the ground, man, to find us. So we'll know where the water at, but we'll go capture them other folks, them other Africans, and make them dig water and stuff. And our first derogatory name was Gramentian, but we didn't call ourselves that. That's something that the Greeks, that the Greeks called us and stuff. That the Greeks called us, because the Greeks, came in after after they whooped the Persians, the exiles, the little 1%, protectors, and I'm gonna explain how the exiles were destroyed immediately, by Greek time. But anyway, how the Greeks come trying to find us, the Israelite nation, the whole nation that broke the covenant and ran into Africa during the Babylonian Wars. And this what I'm gonna show also is that when we ran into Africa during the Babylonian Wars, that the Assyrians had the Edomites under yoke, the Nubian from Upper Egypt under yoke. Basically, all our enemies, the Assyrians had under yoke, because I proved that the history that our enemies show about the Assyrians is totally false. Totally false, man. I'm talking about, they done just lied about the Assyrian captivity like they lied about the Israelite heritage, and they intertwined. So it makes sense that they would lie about the Assyrian captivity. But I show how the Assyrians had a trade with Ephraim, a trade covenant with Ephraim that took all into Egypt because they was kin to the Egyptians. And then I show how the Assyrians kidnapped the idol worshippers. Almighty Yah sent them men to kidnap the idol worshippers that was protecting the Egyptian worship on our land. You know, Reuben, Gad, and Manasseh was the fighters, and then men they got snatched up. You know, the Syrians kidnapped them because they and then incorporated them into their army, and then how that they was protecting the Egyptian religion. You know, man, we had proxy wars going on, the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom and stuff, and how we'll hire the Syrians and the Assyrians, man, to do our dirty work. You know what I'm saying? And then sometimes we'll just go rob each other. But anyway, the Assyrians took the northern kingdom. You know what I'm saying? The northern kingdom's army only, and how everybody else was still in the land. And I proved this by King Hezekiah history and King Josiah history, how all the tribes were still there after the Assyrian captivity. But this one I want to show is that how the Assyrians had the Edomites under yoke. Remember, they had the Egyptians under yoke that was of Upper Egypt. You know, we collaborated with the lower Egyptians, them the folks that built Egypt monuments and man Helapolis, and then how that we had a connection with them, and then how that they was connected to the Assyrians. So, you know, the history that our enemies tell about the Assyrian captivity and what the Assyrians really did is false, but because they've been covering history up for a long time. I explained also in the videos how Babylonian scribes been in control of the whole Israelite history from the time that we Exodus Egypt and broke covenant, that how they immediately took control of the Israelite history, and you know, start, you know, saying this is what Israelite history is, and this what it's not. And then that's where all the false history come from. Thousands, man, almost 2,600 years worth of it, man. That's a lot of history, man. If you got thousands of people telling this lie everywhere, all over. You know, them folks are real crafty, as I showed that they was crafty when they came to Joshua and said that they lived far and then lived near, and then the Amorites got into our heritage. Well, those Amorites from Babylon, in the Scythians, what I want to show now is that when they defeated men, Assyria, the Babylonians, and then how that the Edom was under yoke, was under the Assyrian yoke. All our enemies, man, when we put them under yoke through the Assyrian Empire, because we was rolling and robbing with them. We was rolling and robbing with them. And then how, you know, we put them folks under yoke with the Assyrians, but then when the Babylonians, Ashkenaz and them come in, and how did they free Edom? See, when they freed Edom during the Babylonian wars, and Edom was like the last to get freed from the Assyrian yoke and so forth, because the peoples was coming from the east and then coming on chasing us into Africa. And when we went into bondage, you know what I'm saying, men into Africa, Edom got his freedom. See, all the non-pigmented peoples was kind of like under yoke through the Assyrian Empire, man. That's just what it was, man. They was robbing the white folks. They was robbing everybody. And then some of the Ashkenazi, you know, because they was vicious and robbers too, amongst the, you know what I'm saying, the European peoples, or the peoples from, you know, Europe, the non-pigmented peoples, and how Ashkenazi was like the best robber among them, that they started kicking it into Syria with the other robbers, and everybody would go rob, and you know what I'm saying, all over here, and tell them folks mouth out and so forth. But anyway, Ashkenazi them eventually destroyed Assyria, you know, and then they would free Edom, and then we would get chased into Africa while Edom got his freedom. You see what I'm saying? And then this go back to when Almighty Yah told them folks to come enslave us, and then come to find out it's just like Almighty Yah said, the people that put the yoke on us, the Sib Haradim, we know about Aaron Lopez and all them folks that participated in the transatlantic slave trade, how that's a documented history now. You know what I'm saying? That's a documented history. Now I even got books, you know what I'm saying, going into this. And you know what I'm saying? There ain't no big thing now because we went past that, you know what I'm saying, to that, how that ain't finna hold us up. What happened in the transatlantic slave trade, you know what I'm saying? How that ain't finna hold us up because, you we know that we broke covenant and that it was gonna be fulfilled one way or another. You know what I'm saying? It's this old book, you know what I'm saying? They documented it real good. I'm talking about me and he put the hurt on them. And then it's this historian professor named Tony Martin. Oh man, he put the top on it. You know what I'm saying? And there's no escaping who profited and who started the transatlantic slave trade. You know what I'm saying? There's no question about that because Almighty Yah gave them the green light to do it, and I'm gonna show it. But let me show how Assyria was defeated by the Babylonians, and then how the Babylonians let the Edomite loose. And we know the Babylonians chased us into Africa, and we didn't get no relief from the Babylonians until the Persians whooped them. And then Almighty Yah had told Prophet Isaiah 152 years, man, before Cyrus born, that he would do it. Like he told the prophets 300 years before King Josiah was born, that he would clean up the Egyptian religion, our last chance, man, to be right. You know, the Egyptians killed him. But let's go to this here. Let's go to this here. And then we see, look, the man, it says, all right, but man, this book is about the religion of Edom and its relationship to early Judaism. Man, they gonna lie. They gonna lie because when these peoples write and do these articles and these researches about these tribes and people, they not taking into account that the Israelites broke the covenant and ran into Africa during the Babylonian Wars, and how that's kept out of history and don't none of them know about it. They might know about it, but they dare not tread on them waters in the academic world, in them colleges. Man, it'll probably get them ran underground, bringing that out and then talking about that. You see, and then how that's been the world's quietest history on the face of this earth. You know, I show this, that's one of the one of the best kept secret on the face of this earth is that the Israelites went into Africa during the Babylonian Wars, and everybody got a Tanakh, men in their house. Everybody done read what they call the Old Testament. Everybody done read Jeremiah in them books, knowing that the Israelites ran into Africa, but how the whole world been in cahoots, been quiet about it. You know, they've been quiet about that, but, you know, it's over with now because we showing that this happening, and that's us. And we tired of being in captivity, and we want our freedom. But look here, look. All right, man, it says, like Judah, and some of the other states of the southern Levant, Edom. All right, let me see what they say. All right, Edom managed to survive Neo-Assyrian hegemony as a vassal kingdom, and several kings of the kingdom to be. Let me get this right. Let me see. All right, let me just go back and let's just do it like this. All right. Like Judah and some of other states of southern Levant, Edom managed to survive Neo-Assyrian hegemony as a vassal kingdom, and several kings of Edom are mentioned in Neo-Assyrian sources. Edom actually seems to have been the last Levantian kingdom to be abolished by the Neo-Babylonians. You see, the Babylonians helped the Edomites get free from the Assyrian control. You see what I'm saying? And then that would make the Edomites come into the promised land during the Babylonian wars. That's their interest into the Babylon. That's their interest into the promised land during the Babylonian wars. Abolished by the Neo-Babylonian, apparently during Nebuchadnezzar in 555. Let me see. All right, the campaign to Timor in Arabia. Look, we know that Edom is hanging out in Timor. That's them Eliphaz kids in Arabia. You know what I'm saying? That's right. Well, Edom, man, that's right with Edom. You look, Jordan is right there, right behind him, and that's gonna be the Moabites, the Ammonites, and the Edomites. All them would be in cahoots, meant to keep the promised land, and got the promised land now under different religious names and identities, but are still the same people from biblical times. And how did they come into the land during the Babylonian wars when we ran into Africa? All the tribes. I could show all the tribes easily going into Africa. Easily going into Africa. Easily going into Africa. But look, check this out. So we see that. Now check this out. Check what the prophet Jeremiah said. Look. This is during that time right there. This is right before them folks pull up. The Babylonians pull up and chase us out. Look, in the beginning of the reign of Jehoiakim, this is Jeremiah 27. In the beginning of the reign of Jehoiakim, the son of Jehoash, king of Judah, came this word unto Jeremiah from the Elohim, saying, This saith the Elohim to me, Make thee bonds and yokes, and put them upon thy neck, and send them to the king of Edom. Look, send them to the king of Edom, and to the king of Moab, and to the king of the Ammonites, and to the king of Tyrus, and to the king of Zidon, them the Sullers and the Shuppers, and by the hand of messengers which come to Jerusalem, all right, and command them to say, men unto their master, This is the Elohim of hosts, the Yah of Israel. This shall ye say unto your masters, I have made the earth and the man and the beast that are upon the ground by my great power, men, and by my outstretched arm have I given it unto whom it seemed meet unto me, and now have I given all these lands into the hand of Nebuchadnezzar. You know what I'm saying? So Nebuchadnezzar and the Babylonians and all our enemies kind of like become one as being enemies towards us. And then eventually that prophecy was fulfilled. It took a little while. And Christianity had been developed. After the exiles were destroyed, and then the Edom come in, and Edom is like the founders of Aramaic. All the books written in Aramaic gonna be Edom pretending to be Israelites. All the books written in Aramaic and all the books written in Greek and Aramaic and all the languages after, we had nothing to do with, because Malachi gonna be the last book. Man, let me see this. Man, I think he look, man, according, let me see. All right, this gonna be right here. Man, according to Ralston, the late Iron Age Edomite script seems to be based on that of Aramaic. So all the Israelite history that's written in Aramaic it is gonna come from the Edomites that start claiming our heritage. Now we know Edom gonna claim our heritage after we left, because it's like the best thing going, and then it was a blessing from Almighty Yah in Edom's father Jacob, in that how Edom thought he should get the land. You know what I'm saying? Being the firstborn, but Edom had went into them Canaanite tribes, as this say right here, that Edom was culturally mixed with the Canaanite tribes. All this is biblical knowledge, but this is archaeological findings and proof that they got right there out in the field. But all this is in the Tanakh. Easily seen. So it wouldn't make no sense for Edom, man, to get the Israelite heritage, knowing that they was messed up with the people that we were supposed to condemn. So that's gonna make Edom be real hateful towards us. real hateful towards us, as shown that Edom got our heritage now. Edom got our heritage now, meaning know who he is. Edom know who he is. Look, let me find this, man. Well, Edom, all right, Esau, look. Esau took his wives of the daughter of Canaan, Adah, and the daughter of Elon the Hittite, and Abimelech, the daughter of Anah, the daughter of Zebon the Havite, and Bishmat, Ishmael daughter. So Ishmael descendants, the Moabs, the Ammonites, the Canaanites, all them are the Semitic peoples. You know what I'm saying? And all them, one, whether they practice Judaism or not. You know, that's all them people combined. But you see how Canaan, you know what I'm saying? Esau mixed with Canaan and Eliphaz. You see, that's Esau's son Eliphaz, and Eliphaz gonna be the father of Teman, of Teman, and then those gonna be where them Edomites went to, and then them will be the same Edomites, men that went over into Ethiopia. See, ain't none of these folks got no curses on them, and the Israelites don't know this. I'm gonna get back, men, on the Jesus thing, but this just showing you all this, men, to sum all that up. that them folks from Teman is Yemen, and that all them went over to Ethiopia. Christianity over there. None of the Israelites that was captured during the transatlantic slave trade make it to captivity with those religions on them. So them folks was like enemies still to us. Even though they was practicing our heritage, everything was in reverse. They was practicing our heritage in religions that break off our heritage, while we was in the Sahara doing the Egyptian religion, doing the practicing the Egyptian gods, and then taking on some of them African voodoo worship stones and all of those stuff. Just like Almighty y'all said that the curses will be on us, and then what we'll do. You know what I'm saying? I almost turned. Man, I believe I turned right to it. Ain't that something? Let's see. Yeah, well, where we'll be worshiping sticks, stones, and all kind of stuff. Let me see. And the king which thou shalt, let me see, and the Elohim shall bring, and thou shalt become astonishment in the proverb and the byword. All right, but that wood, worshiping wood, wood and stones is up in here. You know what I'm saying? I read that curse plenty of times. Let's see, it might be on this page. Group them blindness and everything, man. We all messed up, man, because of what our ancestors did, man, in the biblical days. But you can see that prophecy come to pass. Now listen, I'm showing that it is a great, great, great possibility that Jesus was an Edomite. Let me just go on and get that on out there, you know. And look, Edom had pigmentation. Edom mixed with Ishmael and some of them other tribes that had a little fusion with the Hamites. And look, this what Jesus probably would have looked at like. Them are not Israelites. Those are Edomites. Those are Edomites, man, from North Africa. They call in Arabia and so forth. That they are called Sephardim. They're called Sephardim. He got pigmentation. He got pigmentation. They got pigmentation. They got pigmentation. Them folks got pigmentation, but they're not Israelites. They're not Israelites, and Israelites will be confused by this, but by the pigmentation thing. I explained how it's pigmented peoples all over the face of the earth, and how that ain't no big thing. You know what I'm saying? And how we shouldn't get stuck on all this color stuff, but because it's a deception and it can deceive you, like it's been deceiving the Israelites. You know, the Edomites had pigmentation. The Edomites had pigmentation. You know what I'm saying? Man, Edom had pigmentation, so it wouldn't have been nothing for Jesus, man, to be red and have pigmentation too. You see what I'm saying? So it wouldn't be nothing, man, for him to have pigmentation. And then I show you during Greek, man, in Roman times, how, man, it was a bunch of Jesus. I'm talking about, man, they had a bunch of folks named Jesus. And Jesus been in that. Jesus been this. Jesus been that. You know what I'm saying? Man, I know I got that paper somewhere. Yeah, so Jesus was just a common name. And, you know, a lot of people, you know, went by the name of Jesus or Yawashi or however you want to translate it. You know what I'm saying? However you want to translate it. A lot of folks went by them names during the Greek and Roman times, man. Especially the people that, you know, got our heritage, man. They gonna keep on some of the names that we probably had. You know what I'm saying? That's like this, man. These are individuals that lived during the Roman time and Greek time. They're supposed to have did the same thing Jesus did. All of them was probably pigmented and had some pigmentation. But they were not us. They were not us. Y'all remember that Edom was Jacob's twin. But Edom went off into them other tribes, so his descendants would look different. They might have some pigmentation, you know what I'm saying? But because he mixed with people that had pigmentation, you know, different degrees of pigmentation. So, you know, Edom gonna look different. You know what I'm saying? And then it's easily to prove that Jesus was not, man, the Israelite, you know what I'm saying? Or from the tribes of Israel is by the history. You know, man, the Tanakh history, you know, the 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 Tanakh was translated into the Septuagint. That's what Jesus read from. There's no question and doubt that Jesus read from the Septuagint. All right, he read Greek. You know that the whole Jesus history is written in Greek. You see what I'm saying? It ain't even written in Roman. Man, it's written in Greek because the Greek folks was the occupiers of the land. Man, almost 200 something. Man, almost 275 years, man, before the Romans pull up. You know what I'm saying? And then, you know, I can show that during Greek time that some of the Greeks were claiming, man, the Israelite heritage. Man, they even had pharaohs. Man, I show men in history, and I might start bringing some of that up. How the Ptolemy, man, the Ptolemy was claiming the Israelite heritage. The Ptolemy, out of all Greeks, were claiming, men, the Israelite heritage. And the Ptolemies and the Lycimus. Then this is Alexander's bodyguards. They descendants will be claiming Israelite heritage and then become high priests and then become co-high priests in the promised land. See, a lot of you Israelites don't know about Philo and, man, the Ptolemies and the Lycimus and how that them people got intertwined in with the Jews of the land. I already showed you Israelites how we abandoned our heritage to a whole bunch of groups of people that had moved into the promised land during the Assyrian times and then also during the Persian times. Man, a lot of nations of people. So it's a lot of nations of peoples in the promised land. But these peoples managed to claim an Israelite heritage amongst them and then become co-high priests. Show you that the exiles were destroyed, and then how you know that the exiles were destroyed and didn't make it over into Greek times because we'd have been exposed to Greek culture. Man, I'm talking about, you know, the Israelites try to say, well, we stayed in the land from the Persian times all the way to Herd Edomite temple was destroyed. And that's like almost 400 years. And then, man, I show that in this history with these prophets speaking about the Israelites that returned man, from Babylon, that mean that it was over with from them, for them, just like Prophet Isaiah had prophesied. I got a video going into Prophet Isaiah describing and prophesizing the 10th destruction. And it come to pass. They was destroyed and faded out. And then the people who occupied our land are moved into our land and start claiming the Israelite heritage. See, Jesus wouldn't know nothing about this. And I'm going to show you how Jesus wasn't an Israelite is because Jesus hung around Edomites and they was his members. And we know that Almighty Yah was against Edom really getting our heritage. And you know, as Prophet Obadiah stated, you know, everybody know about the prophecies against Edom with Prophet Obadiah giving his prophecies and how it come to pass during the Babylonian wars when they moved into our land, when the Babylonians chased us into Africa. So, you know, Jesus didn't know that we broke the covenant. Is how you know that Jesus wasn't an Israelite. Jesus wasn't an Israelite because we had broke the covenant for Egyptian religion and all the tribes went into Africa. How about that Jesus couldn't have been a Israelite or even really a big old pig-meated person is because that when Jesus went to Egypt to hide, when he went to Egypt to hide, and the Greeks had been in control of Egypt, man, for where the Romans had took it over, but how the Greeks, the Greeks took Egypt over in 332 BC. Took it over in 332 BC. Man, they took it over. They walked around and stuff, and they took Egypt over. And as I showed the Ptolemies and the Lichmus, pharaohs claiming the Israelite heritage, all right? By the time Jesus get there, man, the whole Egypt is dominated and ran by Caucasians of European descent. And then by the time Jesus go to Egypt, it would have been hard for him to hide as a black man, being that the Caucasians had took Egypt over for a long time, as show right here. It's right here. And then they become co-high priests of the promised land. Now, why Jesus wouldn't know nothing about this? Why he wouldn't know that the Israelites broke the covenant for Egyptian religion, as I can easily read. So it's common sense things that we got to go by. That's why we can't let the Jesus worshipers back into the promised land, man, because their history ain't solid. It ain't right. And there's a whole bunch of stuff attached to it, as well as peoples attached to it. And we trying to be by ourselves. So we can't let that stuff in. That stuff will open the door up for destruction on us real fast. Mean if the Jesus worshipers got among us in the promised land, we'll probably perish, and that'll just be the end of the whole Israelite history, because we already made it back. But that's not in scriptures for the Jesus worshipers to be among us. Almighty Yah didn't say that we gonna be giving honor to his son and all that. They supposed to stay in captivity and wait on Jesus to come save them. That's what they supposed to do. That's what they gotta do, because they can't go to the promised land with us. It shall not be no Jesus worshipers or no demigod worshipers going with the Israelite Brotherhood to the promised land when it's time. And the Israelite Brotherhood gonna be an organization where that's our mission. That's our whole mission, is to acquire holdings in Hebron. But let me show you why Jesus wasn't no Israelite. Because like I say, the Greeks took Egypt over in 332 BC, and then it's this dude named Tigernus the Great. Can't nobody get around this. Ain't no history of getting around Tigernus the Great. Taking over 20,000 Jews from Judea and Jerusalem and taking them men to Armenia. It is no escaping that. I'm talking about, man, if you know any history, man, I'm talking about if you study any history, that, you know, you would understand that this dude named Tigerness the Great, I can't find his paper, but it's easy to type in Tigerness the Great. Tigerness the Great took a whole bunch of Jews to Armenia from the Promised Land. Kidnapped them, force marched them up there, and they built a civilization out of this world. They ended up building a civilization out of this world that was stretched. Man, from right here, man up in here, man, he took them Jews, about 20,000 of them. Man, he took them, man, from the Promised Land, man, from right there, and then he took them on up to Armenia. And then from Armenia, they would go to Georgia, and then, man, they would cut the shine in Ukraine and Romania and Hungary, and, man, all these places they would settle, man, and prosper and change the whole economic structure. You know what I'm saying? Men along with them Randonites, you know, them Randonites, the Sephardic Edomites, then went and did trade, men in them spots too. Now you see where all them lines at throughout West Africa, that's them Jewish, that's the Randonite trading guilds, trading routes, and how did they, man, look, you see how they cut the shine up in Europe. And went all the way over here, look, going all through Armenia and all them places, all over the world. Everywhere. That's what a Sephardim, that's going to be them folks that got pigmentation that the Israelites be real confused by them. But you see that how that Tigerness the Great took over 10,000 Jews to Armenia from Jerusalem. None of them black. None of them. This is 95 to 55 BC. This is 55 years before Jesus was born. None of them was black. And then Jesus go to Egypt, and then he ain't no black man, because, man, he was a black man, then it would have just been known that, you know, because he gonna be of the stock that was took to Armenia. Now, how they gonna just take all white ones if it's some black ones in the land, and they supposed to be all one people, but yet only some white ones or Edomites get took to Armenia? Jesus didn't know nothing about that. Jesus ain't know nothing about the curses. He ain't know nothing about us breaking the covenant. He ain't know nothing about us breaking the covenant for Egyptian religion during the Babylonian wars. He didn't know that we said this right here. So why come you can't trust that Jesus stuff? Because this what got us into slavery. Right here. This what got us into slavery, and this is the most important thing in the Bible besides the curses that Almighty Yah said that the Israelites would endure, is showing us at what point did we break the covenant. At what point did we break the covenant? And look here. This is during the Babylonian wars, when Edom was released from Assyrian control, and we was ran into Africa by the Babylonians. Look. Alright, so we go to Jeremiah 45. Let me see. Oh yeah, that's get this here. 15, 16, 17. Alright. Then all the men, you know what I'm saying, when they got chased up off the land by the Babylonians that freed the Edomites to come into our land, then all the men which knew that their wives had burned incense unto other gods, and all the women that stood by, a great multitude, even all the people that dwell in the land of Egypt and Pathros, answered Jeremiah, saying, As for the word that thou hast spoken unto us in the name of the Elohim, we will not hearken unto thee, but we will certainly do so whatever thing go forth out of our own mouth, to burn incense unto the Queen of Heaven, and to pour out drink offerings unto her, as we have done, we and our fathers, our princes, in the cities of Judah and in the streets of Jerusalem. For then had we plenty of victuals and saw no evil. But since we left off to burn incense to the Queen of Heaven and to pour out drink offerings unto her, we have wanted all things and have been consumed by the sword and by famine. You know, the Queen of Heaven is gonna be the IS mama, IS Horus, IS and that Horus stuff. You know, like the Catholic just worship the mama, and you know that she got a hold. Well, we was on that mess, and all that stuff come from Egypt. All that stuff come from Egypt. But Jesus didn't know that the Israelites ran into Africa to do the Egyptian religion. And that's what caused us to get the curses. And then Jesus gonna go to Egypt and then turn his back on the Israelites that's in Africa waiting on the transatlantic slave trade. He actually turned his back when he went back to the promised land after they say Herd died. But this the thing, Herd was dead 4 years before Jesus was born, and Herd was an Edomite. So all them folks gonna be Edomites during Jesus' time, and they was his members, and then they had been in our heritage practicing what they call Judaism. You know what I'm saying? What they call Judaism. I mean, Jesus had been in the heritage man, since he was born in 1 AD, and then how that the Edomites had been in our heritage officially with our heritage under John Harnicus in 130 BC. So Jesus is gonna be 9 out of 10 an Edomite because they was his members. They was his members too, man. If they his members, and then he ain't knowing about the book of Obadiah and saying anything about it and fussing about it, then he gonna have to be part of them. Look, Mark 3:8. All these people come to Jesus because they had heard of the things that he was doing in Jerusalem, Idumea. Look, you see that Idumea, and from across the river, man, they joined him. They joined him. Look, in Sidon, you know what I'm saying? Them the folks that enslaved us. Try in Sidon, what Almighty Yah told them to come get us. And when Prophet Jeremiah sent the yoke and the chain to him and told him, you know, that it was okay to get us. And then how it took a while, but they eventually come and got us. Look, vast number of people come to see him. So look, all these folks, man, all these folks, the Edomites is mixed in with Jesus. When they heard all these things, and many people come from Judea, Jerusalem, Idumea, you know what I'm saying, all them one. You know what I'm saying? Idumea during the time of Jesus, look, and Herd built the temple that Jesus prayed in from the ground up. And then how Jesus gonna be mad at Herd, and Herd gonna be a villain when Jesus going to the very temple that Herd built and didn't make no fuss about Herd being the Edomite building the temple on the promised land. That ain't making no sense. That ain't making no sense. That's why I say that Jesus stuff can't come, because when we Israelites get to really analyzing history and then looking at that Jesus stuff, man, we all no, man, nope, it ain't coming here. It ain't coming here. We can't let it get in. It's got to stay in slavery and wait on Jesus to come free them. Is what they got to stay in captivity. If an Israelite believe in Yawashi, he got to stay in captivity and let Yawashi come free him. Because we know what the scripture said, that the people who held us in captivity gonna have to free us, because Almighty Yah gonna put it in their heart to do it. They ain't Yawashi. They ain't no demigod. Alright, Israelites. Man, it's messed up how, you know what I'm saying, we believe in Jesus and all that other stuff, and then not knowing where that stuff come from. You know, they try to use the genealogy that Jesus have. Man, ain't this something that I turned right? Did I turn right to it? Let's see. Yeah, the genealogy that Jesus have doesn't match King David's, the sons of David's genealogy all the way to the end, and how that they just splice names in here and there, but that how King David's genealogy is in Chronicles, First Chronicles chapter 3, and it go through all the people that was descended to King David to the end, and then I showing videos how the exiles were destroyed by those titles. That the exiles from Babylon got destroyed so fast because they was playing around, and how it couldn't be two covenants. One where we in Africa doing, one where we in captivity coming from Africa doing the curses, and then the other one where the Israelites are free on the land. Nah, man, it don't work like that. It's one or the other. And we was all enslaved during the transatlantic slave trade because the exiles were destroyed. That's why these folks were able to claim many Israelite history, is because the exiles were destroyed, and it's something that Prophet Isaiah said would happen. And then therefore, Jesus couldn't be this God's son because Almighty Yah set the curses out. And then it's like making mockery of Almighty Yah that if he set the curses out, and then the curses is on us, but yet this God's son come to save everybody. Well, why we didn't get saved from the curses? We supposed to be resurrected after the curses ran this effect, and that's what we waiting on. We don't require no Jesus or no demigod. We don't require Jesus or a demigod to be resurrected, man, from our troubles, and that how everything got to come from Almighty Yah. So nah, man, we can't let that Jesus stuff back in the land. I'm showing y'all some simple, easy history, but Edom is who Jesus really gonna be. Jesus really gonna be an Edomite. Jesus really gonna be an Edomite, and you Israelites don't want to accept that. Man, is all y'all don't want to accept Jesus being an Edomite and stuff, and how the Edomites was all in the promised land, all the way up to man, all the way up to the Romans, kind of like kicked them out, and man expelled it, a great percentage of them. You know what I'm saying? All right, the early administrators, you know what I'm saying? All right, the Judean hills. All right, look, the Edom moved into the Judean, which include Edom moved into the Judean hills, the southern Judean hills, and then this gonna be the Judean hills right here. Where them folks at right now. And look, Hebron, Hebron, Hebron. That's the Israelite Brotherhood's land. I done told you Israelites. I done claimed Hebron from captivity, the first Israelite. It's documented and on record. And if some Israelites start talking about, well, we in Hebron, well, no. The Israelite Brotherhood claimed Hebron from captivity long time ago. That's locked in. That's locked in videos and dated and everything. And there ain't no Israelite in the whole Israelite community talking about no land in the promised land to send me there and let me be there and leave me alone. I'm the only one saying this. I'm the only one in the Israelite community saying, take us home and then leave us alone. Because we know them other Israelites that escaped captivity, you know what I'm saying? Man, they being dogged out. They being dogged out. Look, we Israelites not gonna sneak into the promised land, and we ain't gonna beg for citizenship. Once real history is out, it's no turning back. We gonna have some negotiating going on. I pray to y'all. And then that's what I'm doing. When y'all say that how he gonna plead with the nations and plead with them, that's going on now. That's all I've been doing the whole time. I'm the Israelite that brought the history to the Israelite community. Sometimes you got to put emphasis on that because Israelites were overlooked at. And then that's where they error in margin of error gonna come in because it's already charted out. Almighty Yah programmed me to do this. Man, from when I was a kid, I've been in training for this. And as soon as this come into effect, man, I'm going to know what to do. You know what I'm saying? I know we need a 1,000 fabricated houses. Man, I know we going to need some food. I know they going to have to arm us. But all this got to come through the Israelite Brotherhood. All this got to come through the Israelite Brotherhood. But look, the Judean mountains, where we got to be, Hebron is part of that. And Edom been there for a long time. Edom been there for a long time. Look, which you look, in the Hellenistic administrator, all right, Edom, the strapper, different sources use different terms called Edomite. Look, different sources use different terms called Edomite, which included the Arad, Beersheba Valley, the southern Shephala, and the southern Judean hills. That's going to be Hebron. All right. This unit was first mentioned in dialects, a description of events that occurred in the area in the year 312 BCE. The earliest reference to Edom in an administrative unit can be found in papyrus from Cairo that record the journey made by the Ptolemy to collect tax collector Zenon in 259 BC. He mentioned the port of Gaza. Look, Gaza, the port of Gaza. Man, look, that where Edom is at. And another early reference of the letter is from the reference of the Maccabees. You know what I'm saying? Them Edomite Sebhard is mixed. The Edomite Amorite mix is what the Maccabees gonna be. I done did their history. All right, but you see how Edom mean is in our land, been in our land, been in our land, been in our land for a long time. And then, like I say, when these people write these books, mean about the Jews, that they thinking that the Jews today who claim the Israelite heritage are the Israelites. So they ain't gonna write and tell truth all the way. Look, in many quarters there, a caravan sent in southern frontier Judah was frequently by Edomites and Arabians. Mean the Nabateans and the Edomites mix and become one. The Nabateans and the Edomites mixed and become one, and Petra and all that is they holdings, and how Edom holdings mean from all Jordan, because Edom mixed in with the Moabites, the Ammonites, and all them right there, but all this behind. You know what I'm saying? That's how Yemen is Teman get to be Eliphaz's son. All this is their backyard and their territory. Oman is Omar. All the United Arab Emirates is going to be Amorites mixed with them Edomite tribes. Them Amorites mixed with them Edomite tribes. The man is what the United Arab Emirates is. Those are Edomite Amorites right there. You know what I'm saying? And all this is where they at. This is Edom's territory. You know what I'm saying? Edom's sons' territory. You know what I'm saying? And then they would come into the promised land during the Babylonian wars, when the Babylonians freed them from the Assyrian yoke. And then when the Babylonians chased us into Africa. And then I could show how we was all chased into Africa. I show that all the time. How it wasn't no 10 lost tribes, and how everybody was in the promised land under King Hezekiah and King Josiah. You know what I'm saying? So, Jesus was not an Israelite. Impossible for Jesus to be an Israelite and not know that we ran into Africa, man, to break covenant for Egyptian religion. And then Jesus didn't fuss about all these Edomites and all these folks, you know what I'm saying, moved into the promised land. He ain't say nothing about them. And then Jesus prayed and heard Edomite temple out of all things. How could he pray and heard Edomite temple, man, if he was an Israelite? Ain't no way possible that he would have been the creator's son, but then fall up in Edom's temple, who the creator hated and didn't want in our land. That he didn't tell Edom, man, to get our land. He didn't tell Edom to get our land. But yet, for some kind of way, that this Edomite built the temple that everybody thought was holy, And Jesus called it his Father house. Now, come on now. Come on now. I'm showing y'all that all these nations and people settled in the promised land and that they would take on the Israelite heritage. Then Jesus going to be part of them. Because the real Israelites broke the covenant for Egyptian religion and was in Africa waiting on the transatlantic slave trade, and how Christianity and all those other religions was around us, and we didn't get it. They had to go put Islam, the Edomite religion, men to come in there and get some of us in the Sahara. And we can see traces of that on the plantation. Look, King Herod, look, 130 BC, look, for several hundred years there existed south of Judah an ethnic and administrative entity which we call Edomite. While the origins of this entity and the process by which it come to be are debated and will be discussed below, it's well known Edom was conquered by the Hasmonean ruler John. They become one near the end of the 2nd century. In at least according to Joseph, some Edomites seem to have been inducted into the Jewish nation. One well-known result of this was Herod, king of Judah, the rebuilder of the Jewish. He built that from the ground up. You see what I'm saying? And then Jesus wouldn't say nothing about that and make no fuss about the Edomites being on the promised land, showing that he was an Edomite. Because I got videos showing that the exiles were destroyed. So, man, ain't no getting around this. Ain't no getting around this. And they ain't gonna never go light on the Jesus worshipers. And they ain't finna make no room for them. And I ain't finna be nice to them. What I got to be nice to the Jesus worshipers for? I don't care, man, if the whole station fold up. I ain't finna be nice to the Jesus worshipers. Y'all can hang that up. I want doomsday to fall on them because they are what's holding us up. The Jesus worshipers, the Israelites that believe in Yawashi and don't believe in Yah only. That's why if Almighty Yah give me the green light and our captor's green light, the Israelite Brotherhood, y'all can cry and whine all you want to. You will not come to the promised land. Men that live there, you might can come spend your money and visit us, but you ain't finna come live with us in the promised land. And we drawing the line in the sand here in captivity. We don't want Jesus worshipers to come with us. We don't want Yawashi worshipers to come with us. That's doom. That's not our heritage, and that's the heritage of the people that occupied our land when we was driven out for Egyptian religion. Now, what part of that you Israelites can't understand? It seems like you Israelites will understand that, man. It's easy history. It's easy history. And then them Israelites that have made it back to the promised land by the grace of Almighty Yah are not in heritage. And they roaming around, me and them folks dogging the mess out of them. It's because we Israelites not gonna sneak into the promised land, and we ain't gonna beg for citizenship. Once real history is out, it's no turning back. We're gonna have some negotiating going on. I pray to y'all, and they gonna have to negotiate with us before long because this history gonna catch up. It's gonna catch up. It's gonna catch up, and everybody gonna know when they can settle this quietly and just move my people, my folks, to the promised land under the Israelite Brotherhood banner, and then that'll end the whole Israelite issue. We ain't gonna worry about who is Israelite once we touch down. It's gonna be over with. It ain't gonna make no difference if you if you an Israelite in captivity. We're gonna have something up showing, guiding you, men, to how to get to the promised land. But all you other folks that worship Jesus and Yawashis, you don't need to come to the promised land because you waiting on Jesus. You need to stay here in captivity and wait on Jesus. Don't come bothering us when it's come time for us to go. You Jesus worshipers need to stay in captivity and wait on Jesus. Just plain and simple as that. Don't come with us. Don't cause us no trouble. Don't cause us Israelites no trouble when we make it back home by trying to want to be with us. We gonna get you. We ain't gonna let you survive. The Jesus worshipers ain't gonna survive. The Israelite Brotherhood gonna make sure that in Almighty Yah them build me and got me ready to take care of that. I take care of that, no problem. No problem. No problem. All praise be to Almighty Yah. You Israelite Brotherhood members and family, we're going to get it together and some going to develop where we're going to connect. And, them folks going to get us up out of here. And my subscribers and people that subscribe to the Israelite Brotherhood site going to be the first ones I'm going to be screaming for. Because they know the history. Them going to be the first ones I want to come to the promised land with me is the ones that know the history. So, thank you Israelites, man, for being here for me and wake our people up. You know what I'm saying? Show them this history. Man, I give praise to Almighty Yah. This is a message from the Israelite Brotherhood. Man, I pray everybody, man, is doing well. Shalom, Hebrews.